Hello Internet, welcome to Game Theory, the show where brains always beat brawn. Today's episode is going out to two very special people out there in the Weboverse, G1 viewer Shiva91 and the man himself, Screw Attack's own Stuttering Craig. Recently, this hat-wearing head honcho made a bold move by coming out of the closet to reveal a secret he'd been hiding from the gaming community. He confessed that he was unable to beat Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. For over 20 years, one man had stood in his way to glory. One challenger had thwarted his chances at holding that prize belt. And that man was Don Flamenco. No, actually, it was just Mike Tyson. So, after 20 years of running away from the dream bout like a scared little pansy man, Craig sat down at last to KO the Kid Dynamite. On April 9th, during Screw Attack's weekly feature Challenge Monday, an event I like to call the Maiming in Gaming started, and restarted, and restarted again. Finger speed was tested, both in the ring and on the reset button as Little Mac tumbled to the mat over and over, and alright, you get it, he lost a lot. At the end of the hour, the score was 0 wins, 80 losses, and 2 ears still intact for the scrappy underdog Craig. Give up? Retire? Craig walked away from the NES that day a broken and defeated gamer, determined to train and return to the ring a bigger Little Mac. Now, I don't know much about sports, but I've watched Remember the Titans enough times to know that before entering a sporting competition, you need to know your enemy inside and out. So this week, Game Theory is in Craig's corner to give this Ring King wannabe all the support he needs. Can analyzing Tyson's real-life fights help Craig take down the 8-bit champ and finally get the 20-year Iron Mike monkey off his back? Let's find out. At the risk of sounding like a Chinese philosopher, in order to understand how a man fights, we must first understand why he fights. Offensive and unfunny. Par for the course on Game Theory. Anyway, Mike fights because he's insecure. As a kid, he was constantly harassed because of his high-pitched voice and infamous lisp.
I wish one of your guys had children so I could kick them in the and had a stomp on their testicles so you could feel my pain, because that's the pain I had.
But just to guarantee he had that kick me sign firmly planted on his back, his hobby as a kid was raising pigeons. That's right, hiding behind that awkward face tattoo is a girly-voiced bird keeper who can't pronounce the letter S. In fact, his first fight was with a bully who popped the head off of one of his pigeons. Kids suck. Anyway, he also grew up with a huge inferiority complex. You see, he had an older brother, and when asked about their relationship, he said, quote, "My brother was always something, and I was nothing." A lot of love in that family. By the age of 13, Mike had been arrested 38 times. This information is important because it speaks to Tyson's style in the ring. He was smaller than most heavyweights, so he focused on being savage, animalistic, intimidating his opponents by rushing straight at them, getting in their faces rather than dancing around trading jabs from a distance. His biggest weapon was fear. In his documentary, Tyson flat out says the following:
I walk around the ring, but I never take my eyes off my opponent. I keep my eyes on him. Then once I see a chink in his armor, boom, and one of his eyes may move, and then I know I have him.
However, his scare tactics also worked against him, as he had a difficult time defeating opponents that didn't fear him. In short, he didn't just want you to crumble fast, he needed you to. Which brings us to Tyson's second weakness, his staying power. Tyson's goal was to kill you as quickly as possible. Literally. He's gone on record saying that he always tried to punch through his opponent's heads. And as anyone who's played the NES game can attest, his first round power punches were deadly. An unbelievable 41% of Mike Tyson's fights ended in the first round. 41%! Another 12% ended in the second. But if you were lucky enough to last past those first few rounds, your chances improved tremendously. The man only ever lost 6 fights, and 5 of those losses came after the 4th round. To show just how fast of a fighter Tyson was, compare him to Muhammad Ali. Ali fought 56 bouts, Tyson 58. However, Ali fought in 541 rounds, while Tyson only fought in 211. That's a 330 round difference for Ali in 2 less fights. Many fans of Iron Mike say it's because of his speed in the ring, but Tyson has stated differently. Quote, I had a lung problem. That's why my fights didn't last long. So pro tip 2 against 8-Bit Mike, wait him out. Survive his initial onslaught, then hit him hard in the later rounds. Next, his technique. Tyson utilized what's known as a peekaboo style, hiding behind his hands to protect his face and body, only coming out to deliver maximum punishment. He stayed low to minimize his size as a target, making body blows difficult and ineffective, and he was able to avoid many of his opponent's punches by bobbing at a speed only rivaled by the gyrations of Super Macho Man's pecs. But if you could wait it out and land a few punches here and there, his technique became erratic. Instead of using his trademark hook-uppercut combo, he began to rely on weaker jabs. You can see his lack of heart in bouts against Lennox Lewis and Kevin McBride, but probably the best example of his desperation in the ring occurred during his infamous rematch against Evander Holyfield. Tyson had already lost to Holyfield once before, and realizing that he was once again outmatched, resorted to biting his opponent's ear while in a clinch. Not just once, but twice before he was officially disqualified. One bite was so severe that a piece of Holyfield's ear was found on the ring floor at the end of the night. He likes it! Hey Mikey! Had Tyson appeared in Super Punch-Out, this might have actually been one of his moves, since in that game, fighters throw balls, break your wrists, and use sticks against you. But the NES version came at a simpler time, when rules were rules, men were men, and blatant racial stereotypes against magical Indians, drunk Russians, and effeminate Europeans were okay. And that leads us to Tyson's fourth and final weakness, fornicating.
I normally don't do interviews with women unless I fornicate with them. So you shouldn't talk anymore. Unless you wanna.
The guy loves to fornicate.
Can I at least get a blowjob?
It doesn't help us out at all, but I figured I should mention it.
I won't talk nice to you and talk about fornicating with you.
So knowing all this, it's time to re-enter the ring. In the famous words of this guy.
Let's get ready to rumble! Get ready to rumble! Y'all ready for this? I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. Move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it.
The 25 breaks a couple of tackles. And look at him go! And look at him go! He could go all the way!
It's fun to stay in the YMCA. It's fun to stay in the YMCA. They have everything for your men to enjoy. You can hang out with all the boys. Let's get ready to rumble.
Simply en fuego.
So, all in all, playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out gives you an extremely accurate idea of the strategy you need to beat the champ. But hey, it's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.